This week we hear from the Quick Check, who's historic rallying in New Zealand. Richard Fiennes finds £1 million Ferrari. Adrian the Canadian gets the Beetle bug. And we do daft things with a Dodge Viper and a Caravan. First, Richard Hammond gets smart.
All those technological advances are very clever, but I've seen the future and it's here. Sorry, it's here. It's a funny thing, but as people are generation by generation getting bigger, cars are getting smaller, and this is very small indeed. It's the Smart, and it's the result of a collaboration between Mercedes, the car people, and Swatch, the watch people. Obviously. Just because it's small though, don't let that fool you into thinking it's basic, because it isn't. They've managed to pack an awful lot into it. For a start, all of these plastic panels covering the exterior are interchangeable and removable, which not only is good news should you ding one in the busy city traffic, but also means you can change the colour of your city car as and when you like. Okay, it may only seat two, but it actually does so in quite a lot of comfort. And how often do you really need to take more than two people in a car anyway? Once you're inside, it's not only the size of it that's quite surprising, it's the luxurious touches. We've even got air conditioning in here. But I do get the distinct feeling that somebody or something somewhere is looking at me. That'll be the rev counter and the clock then. It's funny, everything's kind of perky and chirpy in here, which makes it quite a pleasant place to be, and having a glass roof helps as well. There's loads of light. There are a few oddities too, like I haven't done this since I was in an old Saab. I do not like small cars. I can't stand them. So this thing must bear the full brunt of my hatred. You get that? I hate you. Stop looking at me like that. You can't, can you? Can't hate it. Try. Now, it has a turbo, which you might not expect, but what you definitely won't expect is that the gearbox is switchable between 3-speed automatic and a 6-speed manually operated sequential. The only problem is every time you change gear with it, it pitches the car forwards, so much so that it feels as if it's about to execute a perfect forward roll, which would be alarming. Mind you, it doesn't actually use fuel at all, never, ever. Well, maybe the odd sip. Certainly expect at least 60 miles to the gallon. Another handy feature, if you find yourself bored sitting in another endless city traffic jam, there's great entertainment to be had from the windscreen wipers, just waiting to see if they clash. They will one day. Oh, nearly. Yeah, oh, nearly. Yeah, oh, no. Yeah, oh, nearly. Well, it's a hobby, you know. Oh, no. Yeah. As visions of the future go, it's hardly Blade Runner, but if our cities are to become ever more congested, then small cars are the only way to go if we're going to hang on to our own personal cars at all. The Smart may not be perfect, quite a long way from it in fact, but it does point the way.
Don't you hate winter? Especially if you've got a passion for old cars or open-top motoring. The winter is not your best friend. So I've come here to Hamilton in New Zealand, in the North Island, to follow the Royal Sunalliance Rally of 2000. This rally has been 7 years in the organisation, and they've got 1,500 classic, vintage and veteran cars here for us all to enjoy. This is one of the 1,500 cars. This is an Austin 7 Burley from England. It's dated around 1926. This is going to be my steed for the rally. We also have a team of other cars come for Britain, around 50 competitors, but we're going to be travelling with this Morgan Super Sports and the Clino. The roads in New Zealand are varied to say the least, from rough terrain to beautiful tarmac, and the rough terrain has already claimed one of our team.
It's actually split the road at the top of this radio.
Is it?
You know where the vertical meets the dial? Right. That's split there, because it came all over us. I can only think when I lowered the radiator in the rubber tube that goes through the bodywork, got twisted, got a kink in it. And sealed it. It's created a seal.
This is a 1927 Packard 426 Roadster, 126 wheelbase, six-cylinder model, 289 cubic inch, 81 horsepower.
Well, now we've finished today's rallying, they don't let us have a chance to pop off home and get an early night in preparation for the next day. No, tonight we've got entertainment, and Al Capone is hitting Hamilton for an Al Capone 20s night. Now, the car might be ready. I don't think I'm quite dressed for the occasion. Give me one moment. Whew, quick change, that's better. Well, that's all from me here in Hamilton from today, but I'm off to Al Capone's party, so I'll leave you with some pictures. But tune in next week to see what else we get up to here on the Rally 2000.
Hello, welcome to Richard Fiennes and Fiennes. This week I've been invited by Gregor Fiskin. I've got this fax here, Queensgate Place Mews, London. They sell very interesting competition cars and cars from the past that people would drool over. I don't believe it. Well, here it is. I don't believe I'm standing in front of my all-time favourite car. This little baby would cost a cool £1 million, but the price doesn't matter. It's the most gorgeous, exquisite machine that mankind has ever designed and built. About 1959, one of 20 cars. It's called a CFAC Hot Rod Ferrari 250 short wheelbase. Raced in anger all over the world. They did actually make some other competition-bodied cars, which means they didn't have bumpers, they had a bit more power, aluminium bodywork instead of steel, and they made about a total of 50 of those. But these CFAC hot rod ones really are as rare as hen's teeth.
They actually made less of this particular model of short wheelbase than they did of the immortal GTO.
Yeah. So how many of these were made?
20.
20?
20 cars.
And how many survived today around
All
the
20.
world? Really?
All
None
20
were race damaged?
They were pretty much all race damaged because they were racing cars. They were not race cars.
Raced in anger.
They were not mollycoddled in garages. They were all raced in anger by all the famous and the good and the great.
Yep. And this particular car has been raced by...
This car was raced by a very well-known Scandinavian called Anderson, who in fact won the Mille Rally in 1962 in this car. So it has a great claim to proper competition history.
Behind you to your right, I see there's a BRM.
There is a
Jackie
BRM.
Stewart car, by the looks of things.
It's unique. It is literally one of one, using the term correctly. It is the lightweight, P115 lightweight, built especially for Jackie Stewart in the 1967 season. It ran very successfully, although it didn't actually win a Grand Prix. It did at least keep Jackie Stewart with BRM and keep their name on the map.
Did he ever get a podium finish?
He did.
That season,
He got a third place.
Right.
And the car is one of the most original racing cars you will ever see anywhere.
The Cooper Bristol I see behind the BRM.
Further back in the showroom, the Cooper Bristol is one of the very rare Mark IIs with the tubular chassis. There's something that's very close to all of us here, because we have one in the company that Gregor and I race, and this is one of the sister cars that is here for sale.
How delicious, if that's the right adjective, are they to drive? Are they very drivable, very driftable, and...
All those words, drivable, driftable, they flatter any driver. I mean, they make even me look really nearly quite good.
And further behind, the Racing Daytona?
Further behind, you have one of 16 only ever built, factory-built, competition Ferrari Daytonas. That car actually finished 6th overall at Le Mans in 1973, driven by the famous two drivers Vic Elford and Claude Ballolena.
Vic Elford being famous, Andrew, for driving the big Porsche 917s,
He then went on to drive 917s.
Yeah. A very fearsome Le Mans car, I think you'll agree.
Yeah, fearsome car in all respects.
It's been the most fantastic day, and I've won the lottery, and I bought the car of my dreams. Bye!
Caravans, curse of the holiday motorist, chugging down the motorway usually two abreast, holding up a trail of motorists and lorry drivers alike. Well, maybe not in this case. Motoring journalist Mark Walton has teamed up with Chrysler Jeep to take on the speed record for towing a Caravan. But how did this amazing record attempt come about? Brian Rees of Chrysler.
This crazy man called Mark Walton phoned us up and said, would we try and break the land speed record for towing a Caravan? So we're going to have a damn good go at it. Got lovely weather for it today. And 126 miles an hour is the target. It doesn't sound that much, but it's got to be a normal Caravan. Can't be any aerodynamic changes, and we can't take everything out. The Caravan's got the cooker and the fridge in there still. 126 the target. We reckon we might get about 130 today with the Viperon, because it's one hell of a powerful car, and we've got good weather for it. So that's the plan.
And what sort of speed do you think you'll achieve?
Viper would normally do the best part of 180 miles an hour, but we put the Caravan on the back, and it's like a big parachute and air brake on the back almost. And we'll probably get stuck at about 130 today, I should think.
So let's meet our intrepid pilot. Mark, what are the major things you'll need to keep an eye on during the run?
The main thing is just basically no really strong crosswinds, because obviously we don't want the Caravan sliding around. And not having any rain is another advantage, obviously. And there's actually a balloon floating around over there, which is giving us a lot of confidence as well, because balloons don't usually go up in windy weather either, so it's looking good.
So with the onboard radar transmitter set up, Mark heads out for the first run. Although not allowed to make major modifications to the car in the rules, the team will even try a new air filter in search of extra speed.
Well, it gets up to about 115, just like that. Yeah. Dead easy, no problem. And then all of a sudden it's counting the miles. And then 116, 117. You start thinking, go on.
So drastic action is called for. Believing that heat build-up under the bonnet could be a source of some lost performance, the team try a few runs with the bonnet slightly open.
The record currently stands at 126.77, so we need 0.8, so we need 0.1 of a mile an hour faster. Can it help? I mean, I think we're so close now, absolutely every millimetre of difference could get us 0.1.
the team sets out for one last run. If they don't succeed this time, they'll call the whole attempt off.
That actually felt like the best run. At the end, I just glanced down at the rev counter, and normally it's just about 5,100 RPM. And that time, I just glanced down and I thought, blimey, that's about 5,200, 5,300, and it's just a tiny, tiny fraction. And the engine note was just ever so slightly higher. And I thought, well, if that's not it, then that's it. There we go. 1 mile an hour over.
So congratulations to the team. They've just proven how fast a Caravan could go. Now they've just got to work out which way to the M5.
Well, the Men and Motors team has been given the task to test drive the Beetle, so we've come across one here. This one's in pretty good shape, and they've been kind enough to us here at Oakville Volkswagen in beautiful Oakville, Ontario, to let us test drive this. Hang on a minute. Got the wrong key here or something. Let's try this one. Hey, come on, get in. Let's take this one instead. Well, we are tooling around in this new Beetle in beautiful Oakville, Ontario. I've been in the car about 20 minutes now, my first ever drive in the 98 VW Beetle. Some of my observations, it drives very smoothly. We're driving the stick shift, by the way. But there's a few things that I notice as I'm sat in the driver's seat. First of all, the dashboard is incredible. You could change a baby on the dashboard on either side. We can smell that the engine is warm, but we don't know by looking at the dash how hot the rad is, because there's no gauge that tells us. I imagine a light comes on if we get into trouble, though. The horn is, I think, a mantra to the 60s. To indicate, which I failed to do then, the indicator stem, the flasher, feels very, very nice at the end of your fingers. It's nice and smooth and ergonomically designed, I think they call it. And the steering wheel's nice and smooth. It's what they call a 3-spoke design. I think you know what that is without any further explanation. Well, it's been a nice drive. Let's have a look at things. One observation, these doors are very heavy, but I think that must mean that it's a safer car than the original Beetle. You can open the trunk, or what you would call the boot, with a doohickey here, which is kind of neat, right here. And of course the same with the latch for the gasoline, what you would call petrol. And this is neat, watch this. Get in on this, this is real neat. That feels like really good hardware, you know, nice and solid. And after you do the latch on the door that I just showed you, that's your trunk. Kind of small, but I think it's good enough. Over here is where you put the gasoline in. We've already done the latch on the door, as I said. Now this is neat. This is just a piece of neoprene or something, and it's to stop the pump scratching the fender. Clever idea, really. Another door here, just show you what it looks like with the doors open. Maybe we can get a shot on the inside. Ooh, we better turn that around. Oh, I'll just put this out of the way. It's all right. They didn't give us any free drinks, so we'll just put that one over there. This is neat. This is, I guess, a throwback to the original Beetle, you know, the... what do they call that, a side saddlebag or something? There's a real word for it, but you know, I'm not a serious car guy, so this is like a layman's review of the Beetle. Now, the seats move in this fashion. You get some good leg room there, like that. You know, but if there's anyone in the back, you know, a toddler, yeah, but anybody else, you know, 8 or 9 years old and up, and their legs would be feeling that. So that's how you get the full leg room. And I'm 5'10" at last check. There's the glove box. Kind of like a dune buggy handle there for when you go over big bumps, when your cameraman needs another gravel. The doors are heavy though. I honestly think that they've put some extra design in there. Let's see how we open this. Brand spanking new. 2-liter engine, 4-cylinder. I don't know how they pack things in here. Have a look around here. It's incredible. And the engine's really hot right now because we've been driving around and teasing it a bit. But they pack it all in. I must ask the dealer later if it's true that these pieces come off to do any serious mechanical work. You know, it's I think a European and British tradition, unlike in North America, where you tinker on your car on the weekend. If you had to change that alternator there, I'm wondering how the heck you would do that.
Forget all about that Italian nonsense. I'm backing Britain, and I give you the Mini. When it came to choosing my car of the century, not a problem. I only had one choice. It was instant. It was the Mini. To me, it's the perfect motoring icon. There are two things I really loved about the Mini. The first one is it's one of those rare cars that really is classless and ageless. It appealed to just about everybody, from royalty and the rich and famous, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, David Bowie were just a few of the celebrity owners, to ordinary people, just like you and me. The second thing, of course, was its sheer simplicity of the car and the fact that it was just great to drive. And here are some rather fascinating facts about the Mini. Did you know that Sir Alex Issigonis, the creator of the Mini's brief, was to create the smallest car possible to take 4 adults and their luggage, and at an affordable price. With a car at just 10 foot long and costing under £500 back in 1959, I would say succeeded pretty well. Did you know as well that this little car was the inspiration for Mary Quant's creation of the mini skirt, which brought almost as much enjoyment for certain people as the actual car did? Did you know that this incredible little car went on to become a film star? Who'll ever forget The Italian Job? And the Mini also became the first car to get its name as an entry into the Oxford English Dictionary. And did you know that the Mini didn't actually start life as the Mini? The British Motor Company was so concerned that it was that radical it might put people off that they decided to call it the Austin Super 7 and the Morris Mini Minor, just so that people would get used to it. And did you know that Sir Alex Issigonis not only created this little masterpiece, but he also had another classic British car to his name, the Morris Minor? And all those incredible little facts are why I believe it's going to be an awful long time before anyone comes up with anything that's going to beat the magical little Mini.